Okay, folks, I would like to bring this meeting to order. 7:30, Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, for our annual meeting. We start off with the roll call, please.
Chairman Steve Van Hout.
Here.
First Supervisor Tim Serwanka.
I should be here.
Second Supervisor Steve Hermanson.
Here.
Treasurer Ann Carlson.
Here.
Clerk Heidi Hankley, present.
Do we have verification of proper notice, please?
Yep, the agenda and the Zoom meeting information was posted on Saturday, April 18th at the town hall and on the website. And then I did the amendment for that added item at 11 o'clock Monday morning. And that change was made at the town hall and on the website.
Thank you, Heidi. Would you join me now and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, please? Find a flag in your direction and we can start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America, and the republic
For
which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We can now start with the minutes from last year's annual meeting. Has everyone had a chance to read those minutes?
I did not.
You did not? Should we read the minutes?
Yes,
Heidi, would you join us, read the minutes for us, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Town of York Annual Town Board Meeting, Tuesday, April 16th, 2019. Installation of officers. Newly elected officers stood and recited the official oath administered by Chairman Dan Reeson. Call to order, roll call. The meeting was called to order at 8:05 p.m. Present were Chairman Dan Reeson, First Supervisor Tim Serwanka, Second Supervisor Steve Hermanson, Treasurer Ann Carlson, Clerk Heidi Hankley, along with citizens Geraldine George, Nancy Anderson, Steve Van Hout, Nana Showalter, Bob Bergman, Todd Larson, and Kelly Hermanson. Minutes of 2018 annual meeting. Heidi read the minutes of last year's annual meeting held on Tuesday, April 17th, 2018. Steve Van Hout moved to accept the minutes as read. Ann Carlson seconded the motions. Motion carried. Annual financial report. Ann Carlson presented the financial report and summarized that the town is in good financial standing. She mentioned that the budget surplus from 2017 allowed for additional road repairs in 2018. Old business discussion comments. Everyone in attendance thanked and complimented retiring board members Dan Reeson and Nancy Anderson for their 14 years of outstanding service to the town. Meeting attendees also commented favorably on the positive atmosphere of our town and the benefits of having accessible, well-functioning local government. New business. Ann Carlson made a motion to allow Steve Van Hout, the incoming chairman, and Heidi Hankley, the incoming clerk, to become signers on the town's accounts at the bank. Dan Reeson seconded the motion. Motion carried. Schedule 2020 annual meeting. Ann Carlson made a motion to schedule the 2020 annual town meeting for Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. Dan Reeson seconded the motion. Motion carried. Adjournment. Bob Bergman made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Tim Serwanka seconded the motion. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 8:20 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Heidi Hankley, clerk.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yep.
Are there any corrections to last year's agenda? I'm sorry, minutes. I have none.
I have none.
None. I move to approve last year's minutes for the annual meeting.
Second.
Is moved and seconded to accept the minutes as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The annual financial report is next on the agenda.
Am I going to put that up for me? You don't have to, but,
I don't happen to have it here.
oh.
You,
And
you should be able to share it if you have it available.
how do I do that?
At the bottom of your window, there's a green share icon, I believe, and then you can just pick whatever window if you've got it up.
All right, let's see. Can everybody see it?
There it is.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Let's see, I'm getting a John Nicker has entered the waiting room for this meeting. Admit or?
Yes. Yeah. I've got a waiting room to keep Zoom bombers out. So yeah, just admit it if it seems, like a real
Okay.
name.
Okay, seemed like a real name. Okay. So the 2019 financial statements, we took in for taxes, the 242,896. And our transportation aids were 98,355 last year. Other items to note is the bridge aid for $4,000. We also took in 14,000 for driveway permits. We paid off one of our loans. We got in money from selling our truck. We got the proceeds in and paid that off. That's why you see the 30,000 there. So overall total income then was the 415,793 for 2019. Salaries and board were the same for the board, for the clerk. And we had the election wage. There was a lot of elections last year, I believe, right? Wasn't there a lot of stuff going on last year? There will be again this year if we can go out voting. Treasurer's salary, same. Assessor's fee it hasn't changed at 6,000. One of the other big items to note. So you'll see on here that we paid the New Glarus fire truck and the yeah, all combined there. Fire truck and payment. That's the down payment for the fire truck that we're going to be paying on for New Glarus. That was this year. The reason why you're seeing zeros for the district for the fire department and EMS is because they technically weren't due until 2020. So we were off on our payments, so we didn't have to pay in 19, but they've already been paid for 2020. The other big item is the 93,000 for contract work. That's all of the road work that we do. We actually were able to spend more money again this year. We do have a surplus out there to save money for a new truck, help pay for the fire truck. We have road signs that we have to pay for. What else do we have out there? And driveway refunds. We also have to give those back when those are due. So then down here, you'll see the other large payment, the highway outlay, because we purchased a truck last year. We were spending a lot of money last year. And then our donations are usually around $300, but this year we donated $7,500 in addition. So 300 is normally for the cemetery that we do, but the library in New Glarus came in and talked to us about donating funds for them. So we donated $7,500 this year for that as well. And then we refunded $7,600 of driveway permits. The total expenses were $418,182, netting a loss of just $2,300, essentially a break-even year for us, but we accomplished a lot. I went through it pretty quick, and I believe that this was on the website, so if you do want to look at it further, feel free to do that. If anybody has any questions, I'll take those at this time.
Ann, we won't be able to make a comparison about how much we spent or did not spend on heating until this year is over. Is that correct?
As far as the propane expense?
The propane, the heating of our building.
Oh, right. Yeah, because we just switched over everything. Yeah, you're gonna want to wait till the end of 2020 because we did that. When did we switch that over? In the fall?
Yes.
Yeah, so we wouldn't really have a good comparison until end of 2020, right? Do you want to explain to the others what you're talking about?
Uh, Sure. We found out that our heating system inside the building was not hooked up properly, and all of the heat was going into the attic and was not channeled into the lower building. We also put in a new system underneath that heats one of our trucks, our plow trucks, that should be more efficient. We also put some plastic over the windows, and we're just hoping with all of these things that we're going to see the cost of LP having gone down, hopefully. Plus, it was a mild winter, so I was just curious to see, but we'll have to wait until the end of the year.
Yeah.
This is Tim. I think it just felt warmer in there during the meetings this winter.
It did. I agree. Even collecting taxes, I wasn't as freezing. I didn't bring my heater this time.
Are there any other questions by anyone?
So the total recycling between waste management and salaries was around 20,000. Is that right?
Let's see.
Are you referring to the entire cost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did come in higher than that.
Well, our salary,
This was
Go ahead.
18,000 and then about 4,000 in salary. I just want to keep that figure in mind when it gets to the discussion on curbside pickup, what we're comparing it against.
yep. And Steve has some numbers as well, so that will help show you. Pretty sure Tim will put it up, or I can put it up so you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to remember that the solid waste disposal and the recycling expense, those are two different costs.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, because there's the 8,900 here and then the 78 here.
Okay.
Yep. And then you got wages of 4,600.
And I have all of that broken down for a cost comparison, which we will see later in the agenda. So you'll be able to compare all the numbers that I found out.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions on the statements?
Looks good.
Approval? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Looks good.
Yeah, it
Okay.
looks excellent, Ann. Thanks for juggling all the numbers for us.
Of course.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the profit and loss budget for the year as written.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the profit and loss budget versus actual for the past year. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you again, Ann.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
New business. We have a driveway permit for Don Wankerl. Help me say that right.
Juan Curl.
Wankerl, thank you. And that is you folks, okay?
Yeah.
Tim, did you get that paperwork so you can put it on the screen?
No, I did not, but who is it that's requesting it on this list?
Donald Wang Curl.
Sure. I've got Shelley, Phillips, John, and
It's under Shelley.
Shelley. Shelley, if you want to go ahead and, or I'm sorry if I get the names right. If you want to try to share your screen, you should be able to present that to everybody here if you've got that as an electronic form.
Tim, I sent that. Can you access your email?
Yeah, I can. One moment.
Okay, I sent all the attachments.
Tim, I have it up. Do you want me to put it up?
Sure. That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you.
A second. You just want the, I don't know if the only part I couldn't find, unless it's all in the one document, is hold on, let me share. I have your, is it this one? Oh, nope, that's the curbside one. Sorry. Close that.
Oh, I've got it now.
Here, are you seeing it now? Is it this one, Heidi? And then is there support with it?
Yep.
Is that what you want to see?
I'm seeing the
I
curbside
need to
pickup
do-
one.
Yeah, curbside here.
Same here.
You can see it or not see it?
Cannot.
Right.
All right,
There
I'll
we go.
stop sharing. Tim, do you have it?
Yes, I'll bring it up one moment.
Thanks. I had it, I just lost how to share it.
This one.
There
Yep.
you go.
Okay.
There's the application.
If you scroll down, it has the picture on the bottom.
This is for section 30, lot 3, CSM 3628. And this is going to be in the Gould Hill, on Gould Hill Road, an entry from Gould Hill Road.
Correct.
Although this is why there's two applications, and Don and Shelley, you can share more, but they're gonna have a driveway coming off of Gould Hill, but also off the private road, the gravel road.
Yes. My intention is to store my fifth wheel camper in the shed. So I will, I'll be driving, pulling in off of Gould Hill Road, and then rather than try and back out onto Gould Hill Road, I'd like to make it drive through so I can just drive out the north end of the shed onto the private road and then onto Gould Hill Road.
Well, I'm looking at my paper copy and it makes real good sense to me.
Yeah,
And
I don't
why-
see a problem.
I don't understand why there are two applications.
Well, the way I took it, I wasn't sure, and I just wanted to be safe, I guess. I looked at the driveway coming off of Gould Hill Road as one driveway. The driveway on the south side of the shed as one application, and the driveway on the north side of the shed as a second application. I figured there was two driveways, that's why I filled out two applications. I wasn't quite sure I couldn't get any clarification for that.
Well, the way I look at it, you're putting up a shed in the house, so the impact is that. So in my mind, it would be one application, but
One.
that's my opinion.
It is mine as well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
So one application, and can we accept the one that we saw on the screen here by you, Donald?
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll just dissolve the other one.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we accept this driveway permit. This is for section 30, Town of York, lot number 3, CSM 3628 on Gould Hill Road.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept this driveway permit, as I stated. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Donald, what I will do then is I have the application, I will sign it, date it, we'll make copies of it for our file, and then I will send it to you to 220 Lou Foster Lane. What town is that in?
Merrimack.
And could I get a zip, please?
53561.
And I have you at a contact number, cell phone at 608-228-3149.
That is correct.
Okay. So we'll get that out in the mail to you after we make some copies.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
So then Don and Shelley, you'll need to send me a copy of, or a check for the driveway permit fee, which would be $1,800.
Okay.
And do you have my address?
I believe I do, but why don't you give it to me just in case, Heidi?
Okay. N7968 Gould Hill Road.
Okay. Perfect.
We'll be neighbors, as you know.
Yes, yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Okay, so yeah, just send that to me and then you'll be all set.
Okay, great.
And then when your driveway is in, let us know, because we need to come out and inspect it, make sure it comes up to specs.
Yeah.
And then if it does, then you'll get your $1,000 deposit back.
Okay, great.
Have I missed anything on that, guys?
Nope.
Sounds about right.
All right, good luck on your project, folks.
Thank
Thank you very much. Thanks for all your help. All right, have a great evening.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Looking forward to
care.
it. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, next is cost comparison of curbside pickup versus recycling center. It's been an interesting month talking to both Faherty and with Pelletieri on changes to the system and what it might cost and what it all involves. And I have Faherty at the top of this list. However, we're still trying to figure out if they can even take the garbage to their dump site. There seems to be a question about whether they can take our refuse to Dubuque, that we may have to keep Greene County refuse in Greene County, which means if they were to take this, and it's very close to Pelletieri's, it's almost identical, but they would have to charge us more to take it to Greene County than it would cost them to take it to Dubuque, which doesn't make any sense to me. But between the two of them, their costs, they must team up to go through these costs because they're almost identical. They said anywhere from right around $1,550 per month per family, with an extra $2 a month for rental of the containers, unless people were to buy them outright, in which case they could buy as many as they wanted. But if they rented them, it would be two, one for refuse, one for recyclables. With Pelletieri, the cost could be higher depending on the mileage. They wouldn't know for sure until they got the exact mileage. Both were looking for at least a 5-year contract, but could give us a 10-year contract and it would reduce the cost. Down below here, it says the present cost and expenses. These are the numbers that Heidi and Ann have come up with, reflecting the costs that we're paying right now. Present cost of expenses, $17,795. Recycle costs, miscellaneous expenses, $8,912. Recycle wages and withholdings, $5,012. And that is not a true reflection because now we're giving extra on Wednesday evenings for another 2 hours. So that might be going up. It will be going up. And then the total cost of that is then at $32,071. We get an income, our last income was $318 given back to us in our metal recycling. So the total net expense is $31,753 for the use of the recycle center. And Heidi added this, the annual per capita cost at 950 people in the town of York is $33. And I assume that's per month, Heidi. Or,
That's just a straight division.
okay.
Yep.
And the annual per household cost at 390 households is 81. So I did a little math and added up what it would cost us to go into curbside, and I subtracted out the $31,753 we're already paying, and we're actually making a savings of over $50,000 by doing a recycle center. Questions?
On the curbside, how many times a month would they pick up?
I'm assuming, that's a question that I didn't ask, but I'm assuming that that's weekly.
Primrose Township is every other week.
Okay, so
That's why I'm asking. I talked to somebody over there to see how they liked it.
what was the reaction?
They liked it. It was a small household, just a couple living together, so they didn't generate a lot of trash. They had plenty of room in the bins. Didn't find it too burdensome to get it up to the road. They had to take it from up a relatively steep driveway, but didn't seem to be an issue. The other question I had on the curbside is there's going to be a bunch of stuff they don't want to take, such as mattresses, furniture, the metal, scrap metal. So
Waste oil. Waste oil.
I imagine that it would be, they'd still have to maintain the township site, even if they went to curbside recycling and garbage.
My question, Bob, is are they paying for this out of their pocket, or is Primrose paying the cost of this?
I don't know. I'll ask and find out.
Because that would be my question to our township. If we were to go to this, would we assume the costs, or would the costs go directly to the individual using the service?
I'll ask and find out.
I think Town of Blanchard does this, and it's a shared cost in their case. I'm not sure exactly how it's broke down.
Okay.
This is Tim. My other question would be, whose curb are they picking it up from? Because as you know, I'm a mile and a half back. Are they picking it up from my driveway, or are they picking it up from Badger Road?
Yeah.
And are they picking it up from my driveway in December?
Well, another thought, before we had a good recycling center established in town of York, over the years, there was a lot of dumping alongside the roads. So even on our woods on Sawmill Road, there's all kinds of metal garbage that people would just pull off on a remote area of the road and just dump refrigerators or whatever. So my concern is that if the curbside pickup just took household waste and not bigger things, it might encourage people to start getting rid of things the easy way. Have no idea if other townships who have pickup are experiencing that kind of dumping. I don't know. Anybody have any ideas or hear anything about it?
Well, on Gould Hill Road, Heidi, where you get into town of Blanchard, there's dumping of a lot of stuff. So the other thought is, are people gonna wanna pay extra if it's a shared cost? Are they gonna wanna pay extra for that, or are they just not gonna do it?
What was the issue that was referred to in the meeting minutes, that there was an incident at the recycling center?
There was an unhappy exchange between recycle workers and one of our residents about not being allowed to put all their garbage in the containers. They brought a lot. And I'm still working on that to try to work with both parties to come to some sort of understanding about it. We have we have a rule that I'm aware of now of a six bag limit. However, it is not in the statute. It's not in the ordinance that there is a limit, but we have a sort of an agreement that people would try to limit how much they bring so that we have room for everything. On this particular day, there was not a lot of room, so it overtaxed the system. So what I've done in the last couple of weeks is I've contacted Pelletieri and looked into the possibility of how we could resolve this, either by bringing in extra dumpsters or having extra pickups. And what they informed me of was that extra pickups on a need basis would be much cheaper than bringing in an additional dumpster for refuge and another one for recycling. So that may be an answer to this problem. Tim mentioned on our last meeting that we're a growing township and we have more waste. Plus, right now we're in a dilemma because it's springtime. People are cleaning out. We're in a dilemma because a lot of people are off of work and they're cleaning out. And this is normal in the springtime, but it's now even worse because people are at home. We also see the same thing in the 2 weeks after Christmas. There's an overabundance. And if everybody comes at the same time with a lot of refuse, the dumpsters fill up and we have no place to put it. So that's kind of the dilemma, and that's kind of the problem that we had in the last couple of weeks.
Whatever happened with trying to compact it, that Wayne had made an attachment for the tractor to kind of mash stuff down, did that work at all?
It's never been done because we have, I guess, a limited number of people that would want to run the tractor. And the problem is, as I see it, is it gets pretty chaotic up there.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid something could happen.
Okay.
I agree with you. I mean, that's what we have our own dumpster, and I pack that many times, before I have them come and pick it up. That would be a good idea. Maybe it would be such a thing on Wednesday nights if they restrict just to a couple of dumpsters and they get almost full, that between Wednesday night and Saturday we could compact it. That might help.
How do these prices compare to what you're paying?
Oh, on the farm?
Yeah.
On the farm, now that we don't have the dairy cows, we don't have nearly as much waste, so it's costing us about $51 a month, and then if we have a tipping fee, it's about $25 extra, so about $75 a month. So in my opinion, it's worth it, because we still would have, a farm would still have considerably more waste than a household.
Yeah, but here they're looking at $33 a month. Is
Yeah.
that the figure you're using for the proposed fair tea? That it seems like you're getting a pretty good deal. I mean, your dumpster is what? They've got to be like a yard or a yard and a half,
Oh,
right?
I think ours is 6 yards, I think,
6
isn't it?
yards. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the size of one of the ones that's at recycling.
Oh, mine, I guess, is a little smaller than that. A little smaller than the recycling ones. So
Okay.
I'm not positive. Maybe it's a 4.
And what company is that?
That's Pelletary. And, when we switched from Waste Management to Pelletary, at that time, I think our cost savings is between 13 and 18,000 a year.
For the township.
Yes.
Yeah.
And slowly Pelletary has been, bringing their rates up,
Yeah.
which they all do. But I still feel that Pelletary is doing a better service than Waste Management was.
It's 55 a month, Steve.
Okay.
55 a month.
55 a month, I guess.
Yeah.
So either way, I mean,
It doesn't give the size of the.
yeah. Oh, it does. So,
That's what you're paying, $55 a month?
yeah, it's 55 a month.
That seems pretty darn reasonable.
Well, I think it's worth it for us to run over to the town, 4 times a month. And we'd probably be right at that. We could be at that 6-bag limit very easily. My opinion, we're not using the tax dollars on it at all. And I'm sure there's a lot of other farms that don't either.
Mhm.
Steve, tell me about recycling in this case. If you're filling a dumpster, what goes in and what does not go in?
Yeah, well, and that's the negative part of it. But unfortunately, whether or not a lot of people know this or not, most of the recycling is going up to the same place that the trash is right now. It's unfortunate because of the price of recycling. Most of that is going up there because I know someone who works there and he has told me it's all going in the same place. Yeah, it's all going into the landfill right now, which is unfortunate, but we do also have a container for recycling the egg plastic, and that's the biggest volume we would have. So that is set up, those white dumpsters are set up free of charge. There's no charge at all. And that plastic, to my knowledge, goes to Arkansas. And I've been told it is made into drainage tile.
Okay.
So I think
Okay.
that's the biggest thing for recycling for a farm.
Jim,
Yeah.
Don had a question. John Nicker. I don't know if we have to unmute him,
You should be able to unmute.
unmute himself.
Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah.
I just had a comment. A couple of people were talking about, I think, monthly versus annual numbers. I think the numbers you showed were annual. So annual per household was, $81. So that's, $675 a month. Just wanted to clarify because I think somebody was comparing the $55 a month to, $33 or something. But I think your numbers show annual per household is, like $675 a month.
No, it would come up, it actually comes up to over $200 per household. That's where that number comes from.
I
No,
think
sorry,
he's talking about
the
the
current-
annual per household at $81. So divide that by 12.
So the way I
Of
look at this, Steve, the $81 is what it's currently costing the town per household. But if we were to switch over, it'd be $210 per household each, unless the town shares a part of that, correct?
Correct.
Right. So that's quite a difference. And the other thing, I just had a comment on curbside. There aren't too many curbs around, but you know, for us it'd be, you know, 2,000 feet down to the roadway where they would presumably actually pick it up. For us to transport garbage and recycling containers down to that roadway and then go back and get them when they're empty is a lot more of a hassle than just coming to the recycling center every week or 10 days or 2 weeks. It's much simpler, and I would really not like this curbside. I think especially because of the cost too.
Not to mention, John, the wear and tear on our roads. That would bring an
Correct.
additional strain. And I'm thinking about people who, I would imagine that Pelletieri would refuse to go up the Badger development either side just because of the angle.
Well, sure, and
so that would be
bad weather and even like where our roadway connects to the highway, would be a terrible place for a garbage truck to stop every week without, you know, danger of curves and hills and all that stuff.
Well, I want to be upfront about this. I did this kind of cost comparison for a reason. I think we have a really good recycle center. I have gotten several calls from other townships asking about it, wondering how it works, and we are a model for others who are thinking about doing this. And I want people in our township to realize that we're saving a lot of tax money that we can put into roads, and we can put into good machinery, and that it would be wasteful to have our roads constantly being traveled on by these large trucks. So that's the reason why I did it. I wanted to put it out there so people saw the numbers and realized that we have something that's worth keeping, in my estimation. So that's why I did the study.
Well, maybe what you should do is put something on an agenda to discuss the issues that we're having. Put it into the code that it's a 6-bag limit, for instance, and alert people to the cost savings. And there's something that I've thought should have been enacted is a little more control of the traffic flow. Come in one side, go out the other. Because it gets pretty wild,
idea.
You know, certain times, especially with the people coming uphill and swinging in, you have limited sight views because the dumpsters are there and people are walking, and, you know, sometimes there's kids and dogs. You get a little more of a procedure. It might slow it down a little bit, but if it comes from the west, heading off of H and coming in, there's room for 20, 30 cars to wait if necessary to get unloaded. And then the recycling crew would have a chance to see if somebody is taking advantage of the situation and throwing a couch into the, I see that a lot of times. The first thing that goes into an empty dumpster is something like a recliner or a couch or a mattress. And kind of get that under control, or, you know, have a, like you say, a tipping fee or something, Steve. Another thing that really was an odd comment you made was that it costs more to take it to the Greene County landfill than to take it to Dubuque. Wonder what that's about.
And they weren't even sure if they could do it. That was the last question that I had with Faherty when I last left them, is they weren't sure they could actually do that. So that's up in the air.
Okay.
This is Tim. The Greene County landfill folks have been a treat to deal with for the board for the limited exposure that we've had with them. They did give us the opportunity to sign a quote unquote contract with them, but we couldn't see the contract ahead of time. And also the terms, if I recall correctly, were quite open-ended financially, such as maybe it's, you know, zero cost to us. Maybe we're on the hook for the entire operation of a you know, Superfund site potentially. And you know, in my estimation, that was not a good contract for us to enter in with, and perhaps they're having the same issue with that particular facility.
I believe that's why we stopped talking about joining that consortium, because we didn't want to find out that we joined it, and then all of a sudden we have to pay a bunch of money because we're in it, and now we're forced to pay it. So we decided not to do it at all. If people want to use the Greene County landfill, they can. Our residents can take any number of things there. They may have to pay something to do it, but that's their option.
Another observation I've made is there's a bunch of people that do some very strange recycling, because you see a lot of aluminum cans in the recycling. And if this came up as an agenda or on the web, the newsletter, to encourage people to at least take the pop cans out. I mean, are we still donating them, that charitable donation? Okay, at least something good is coming out of that, a positive.
Yeah, and that was in the York letter that went out, this past one. We talked about that specifically, who was taking the cans and what the money was going for. The problem with that is if somebody decides not to, then those cans have to go into recycling. Yeah. So we're just easing the recycling by collecting the cans ourselves and then having somebody take them in. But a lot of people don't read our newsletter. Yeah. So what we've decided or talked about doing is doing a mailing where we're going to say something like, this is urgent to our residents. Explain, first of all, that we're open on Wednesday night. Explain about recycling and how it is not an option, but we're mandated to do it. And talk about a 6-bag limit and why this has been suggested, how it could alleviate problems if everybody doesn't bring everything at once. So maybe a letter to our residents is something that could be helpful here, if we can get them to read it.
I believe John Nicker had a comment.
Yes, one thing would be, you mentioned a newsletter. I can't recall receiving a newsletter, but yeah, a special letter would certainly be welcome. And another thing I thought I heard was that the pelletary is not really recycling right now. They're taking it all to the same place. If that's the case, obviously you should still do the aluminum cans, but you know, it'd save a lot of time with people dropping stuff off if it's all just going to one place, you know, and personally, we're wasting our own time sorting. If we're not really recycling currently, you know, we might as well let people know if it later turns back on and they are recycling, you know, you can tell them again, but it's a lot of work and a lot of rigmarole if it's just all going into the same place.
Well, the problem is we are getting charged significantly less for the recycling dumpster, and we're not necessarily privy to when they do start recycling or not. And it would be cost-wise detrimental to us if they all of a sudden started charging us the trash rate for all of our recycling containers. So even if it's going in the trash stream, it's still in our financial best interest to ensure that the recycling bins stay as close to recycling as possible.
Okay, that makes sense.
Tim, that's why we pay you so much, because you're on top of this stuff.
Well, it's growing pains. You know, the township's starting to pick up on the building again. Right. And that's a reflection. More people, more services are necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We really like the, we love the recycling center, and we think it works really good. There's all kinds of, you know, you're definitely sorting recycling. There's, like you say, if you have curbside, we came from the suburbs of Chicago, and, you know, curbside, there are a lot of things you couldn't leave there. And this way there are options for, you know, big metal items and things like that. And heck, I usually grab stuff out of the metal recycling container anyway.
Yeah.
Nice newsletter.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is the newsletter. John, if you want to send email to info@townofyork.org when the meeting is done, I will ensure that your address is in our notes for the next time it goes out next year.
Okay. Who should I send that to?
Just send it to info@townofyork.org. It should be on the website. That'll go to me. It's easier than
Okay.
trying to spell my name, my email address.
Yeah, I think I've signed up on there before a couple of times, but I don't know. All right.
Yeah, this is actually one that goes out via the postal mail once a year at least.
Yeah.
My plan for the next meeting, our regular scheduled meeting in May, is to bring up the letters to the resident for the board to review and help me with. I have to address this other issue, and I have to be honest, this is the first time that I've gotten a complaint in the year that I've been here. And according to Kim and Cindy, this is only the second complaint that they've had in all the time that they've been working here. So I don't think we have a big issue. However, I do think our residents need to know that we're saving some money and that we're trying to do something that's good for the world. At least we're trying to recycle. And that's got to be a whole lot better than throwing everything in the trash.
Yeah, I would hate for people to unlearn how to recycle and then have to start again informing people to have the practice. I would rather just keep people doing that, and hopefully things will shift and it'll become a good commodity again and not go into landfill.
I also think Kim and Cindy and April do a great job dealing with the public on our behalf. I mean, if anybody sees anything, I mean, we all know how many people show up in person at the town board meetings, but they have to show up at the dump, once a week from time to time.
Right.
So, I think they do a great job with interacting with people, and, the public can be difficult at times. And, I think the fact that they've only had a couple of complaints in the, 8 or so years that they've been doing this, I think is maybe a little bit less than 8, but I think is testament to how well they've been doing for that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yep, I agree.
Now, we could put this to rest right here and now. And just, my thought is that we have a system that's working. I am more than willing to put it to rest for the foreseeable future.
I agree, Steve. I did it, I think it was before you got on, Tim, and it was basically about the same thing. And, it's been, I'm guessing, probably 10 years or whatever. And we just put it to rest at that point. I think it proves the point, and I'm in favor of just leaving things the way they are. Maybe making a few small changes.
Yeah, this is Tim. I totally agree with that. I think this is a great exercise to go through every so often to find out exactly what the costs are, between doing it the pickup or the central collection. And, now we know, we have the numbers, and it's, a good data point in addition to what other people's opinions might be for, whether they'll pick up in front of my house or not.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we put this to rest for the foreseeable future and stick with our recycling center as is.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to keep our recycle center open and running as is. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I had, this is John Nicker. I had one other comment where, like I said, we came from the suburbs of Chicago. The limit each week was a 1 cubic yard of waste that you could put out. If you try and say 6 bags, you might have trouble with what's a bag, but you might, just for some kind of guideline if you want to on what the allowable limit is.
So
we appreciate all your comments, John. You made some good points. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I was just looking on the website at the newsletters. It looks like the last one that's on the website was maybe 2017.
Either I can get the 18 and 19 one up, or I can hand that off to Todd. I'll make a note of that.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Okay, let's move on to old business. And next on the list is the Cruiser.
I don't have anything to share for that one, screen-wise.
Okay. So I called Larry and he had quoted Steve a price of 30,000 and had quoted Wayne a price of 30,000. And when I talked to him, now he wants 38,000. So that kind of changes things. I did make some calls today, machines like that. So a new machine like that is about 250,000, which obviously we're not going to do that. Something, and this guy looked up auctions for machines like the one that we're looking at, and yeah, most of them are around anywhere from 5 to 16,000, but they may not have the mower attachment or some of the other options that this one has. So in my opinion, the 30,000 is probably plenty. You know, we're probably paying enough for it, considering the age. And like, you know, the motor would not be a problem for parts, but some of the other parts could be a problem down the road.
So Steve, in your opinion, do you still think we should pursue this from Larry?
Well, I wonder if, you know, we just say, you know, 30,000, take it or leave it. The other thing, and, you know, I'm not sure what to believe on this, but he says he has a loan on it for 38,000. So I thought about that today. Well, if we're going to buy that, we'd have to have some kind of a release from the lending organization. You know, with a car, you have a title and you get a clear title. But buying machinery like that, you are taking a risk. I know that is buying from private people, farm machinery, you have to, if you question it, you better talk to their lender, and you need I don't know if they call it a letter of release, and you might know.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Yeah, you would just get some sort of a letter from the bank, like a release statement.
Right.
So when you pay off your loan, you're going to get a release letter anyway, personally. So then you would just ask for a copy of that.
Right. So I don't know. You know, I think it'd be a great machine, and we could use it for a lot of different things. That's what's too bad about it. I think we could use it for more than just, you know, digging or putting in culverts. We could use it for, you know, mowing along the road, high trees. I think it would be handy, but I did ask, so I called Brooks today up at Sun Prairie. You know, they have used backhoes, but which would be handy, but you're kind of limited on what you can do with it. So that's just my opinion.
Well, I did some searching online today and I found 2 of them for sale. One for 30,000, exactly the same year, but I don't know how many hours are on it. But we would have to go to Manitoba, Canada to get it.
All right. Yeah.
The other one was a year younger. Again, I don't know the hours on it, but all it had was a bucket on the front, and it was going for 15,000 out of Montgomery, Alabama. So there are machines out there like this, but this machine of Larry's only has 1,000 hours on it, which means it's still a baby. So we got to consider that too. So do we want to wait on this until the next meeting? Or do we want to schedule to look at it yet? And if so, are we willing to pay $38,000 to purchase it?
Has Wayne taken a look at it personally and inspected it?
He's seen it work, but he's busy right now, so he hasn't had time.
We do have a motion on the floor to accept it for $30,000. So if the price comes in higher than that, we're going to have to handle it at a future meeting, unless you want to handle it now.
Well, I guess I would, try to compromise. I know, it just bothers me that he quoted a price and now all of a sudden it's higher.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him if we can get a release from his mortgage or whatever they call it on a vehicle like that. If we can get a release from the bank, that's paramount. And then let's go with taking a look at it like we planned to. That will be you and Steve, that will be you and Wayne taking a look at it. And then we'll cross the bridge of price when we get to that point.
Sounds acceptable.
I agree. That sounds like a good plan.
Okay, let's let it be that then. I will get a hold of him and see if I can get the release. And then Steve, you're still in charge of setting up sometime in the future for a look-see on the machine.
Okay, I'll get a hold of Wayne and Larry.
Discussion and comments.
I'd like to thank the board for all your work and all the hours behind what you present, and I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just a comment on Zoom meetings. This is great. It's a lot easier to attend.
Thank you. Next month, we may have another one.
I'd like to say that I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and your laughter has been really positive. You got to keep it going. So, but I like the theme idea between Tim and Ann. I think next meeting should have themes in the background, like, oh, Steve's Hearts too.
Yeah.
All right. Next, she's going to want us to come in costume. Any other discussion or comments?
I have nothing.
Okay, or nothing?
Just thanks for doing it, what you're doing.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, the schedule for next year's meeting, the third Tuesday in April comes on the 19th in 2021. Should we hold that meeting at 7:30 like this year?
It's actually the 20th.
The 20th? Thank you. I thought I looked it up correct.
Okay, I'll move that we have 2021's meeting April 20th at 7:30 p.m.
I'll second that motion. The motion has been made and seconded for the next year's annual meeting on the third Tuesday, which is April 20th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. That is all. We are done.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
We've been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, folks, for attending.
Thank
See you
you.
next year.
Yeah, this will be good when there's a midwinter snowstorm to do this.
Right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
See
Of
y'all.
course, ours doesn't work very good when it's windy. That would be the problem. We be smoking in and out.
No, if we could only do trash pickup by Zoom.
See y'all.
Thanks, everybody, for
Okay.
joining us, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.